All right, it's Friday night and I like to party on Friday nights, so I invited myself to a one-man fabrication party out here in the Montana garage. Let's cut another hole in this car. Should be a good time. All right, let's get this party started. Tonight's party is Operation Field Door Delete. Well, Operation Field Door Delete continues. So we're gonna try to figure out, the last video I explained my plan for the inside field door. If you haven't seen it, go back and check that out. And so I did go ahead and grab the filler neck. So I have an idea how that's gonna be. You know, obviously once the tank's in there, it's angled. I'm guessing it's angled about like that, which makes sense because, you know, they were designed to put the gas pump in here, had a little angle on it. So now the angle is gonna be opposite of what we need with the gas pump coming in here. But I think, you know, if I try to put the gas door inside this little opening still, and I don't have a ton of room because it starts to curve up here, and then we got the edge of the trunk in the way and whatnot, but I think it's going to work without me having to really modify the filler neck at all. It might be a little more, a little less convenient, you know, a little more inconvenient to fill up now than it would have been if I would have just left it alone. But hey, that's the price you got to pay if you're going to look a little cooler. You know, it's going to look a little cooler, a little nicer, not having that big ugly door right there. So, you know, if I got to work a little harder to put a little gas in it once in a while, not a big deal to me. And then, like I say, down the road, if it is too much of a pain in the butt, I can always, you know, cut this and change the angle, or, you know, figure something else different there. But I think it's going to work just how it is, just a little less convenient. But hey, looking cool is all that really matters, right? All right, so when I pop over here on the inside, I have a little bit of filler right here, and basically what I was filling is there's some marks from the spot welds from welding that little bracket on that's holding the filler neck. So I was originally gonna just, you know, drill a hole right above it or something so I knew exactly where it was, but I can pretty much see it because of that weld that's right on the corner of that little bracket back there. So I'm just gonna move up just a smidge, draw what I think is pretty much a flat line, and then I'm going to come up as far as I can, which is going to be right about in here because it starts to curve. And then we're going to come down, and then again I'll try to kind of round those corners so it looks a little nicer. And yeah, so we'll get that cut out, and then maybe I'll play with the angle of the filler neck again just to see if I think it's a big deal. But I guess at this point that part doesn't really matter because once the hole's cut out, kind of committed. Well, I guess I'm already kind of committed because there's a big hole there. So let's get cutting. Got the new marks drawn. So that is going to be the proposed cut. It's kind of tough to, you know, I couldn't really, there's not a lot to measure off of that square. The car's not really perfectly level. So I made my edge lines just based on obviously these body lines, and I basically had to just kind of eyeball. There wasn't, you know, there's not enough room to get really a square in there. I tried that, I tried working with that. So anyways, I think I got her somewhere as close to flat-ish, square-ish, and then I used my handy dandy 3/4 inch socket for my corner compass, and now we'll break out some tools and we'll cut a hole in the car. I talked about some new tools I got in my last video. And one thing I didn't mention is I also got a new grinding shield. It's a cheap one, it's just Harbor Freight, kind of a disposable throwaway type item. I probably should try to find something a little nicer someday. But this one does have one option that my last one didn't have, and that's that you can actually see through the screen. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. All right, I did the straight sections with the old death wheel. Now we'll break out the new Ingersoll Rand air saw. See how that does trying to make these corners. darn good. So there we have yet another giant hole in my 55. Not quite as giant as the other one. Big enough for me to reach in and mess with the cap. I'll throw the filler neck back in there and we'll see what kind of angle it'll look like we're gonna have. And then I just gotta clean the line up. I got a little close over here, so we'll scoot this whole thing over just a hair. And we'll get some tools out and kind of clean that edge up, and then we will make a piece to go back in there. So we got us a hole cut in the inside of the trunk, right yonder. And I don't know, I think it did a pretty good job. It's pretty symmetrical. Got the edges pretty smoothed out where a guy's not gonna cut himself to death. And I threw the filler neck back in there. And I think it's gonna be angled about like that. So yeah, I think I'm probably gonna have to do a little bit of work to the filler neck. I think it's just gonna be, you know, a little tough getting the gas. I almost think I need to drop it down a little bit, and then obviously I need to change the angle, but we'll see. It'll work one way or another, I'm sure. So now I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the outside. I'm gonna cover this in tape, scratch a line on there, and that'll give me a good pattern to cut out the, well, it's not really a patch this time, but I guess the gas door. I'll pretty much cut it, you know, flush. I mean, I'll leave a little tiny gap. I'll try to get it, you know, as best I can all the way around with just a, you know, maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8 inch gap to start with, and then we'll try to figure out temporarily getting her mocked in place with the hinge and see if it's gonna work. So here's what I came up with. Got the piece for the fuel door fitting in there, you know, fairly good. It's not perfect by any means, but we got about a 1/16 inch gap or so most of the way around. Got to kind of bend it a little bit. This metal up here kind of flares out. I bent it a little, got to get a little more, but I think I'm going to call that good for now. Now it's going to be a matter of getting that hinge on there, and then of course I got to get the fuel door on the hinge just only like exactly perfect for it to go back in the hole right. So we'll work on that now. Okay, so where we're at now is trying to figure out the hinge, and as I suspected, this little body mount, or not body mount, body line is definitely in the way. The hinge has these little brackets and it wants to sit right there, and that moves it this way too far. So what I have to do is shorten these brackets so that the hinge itself, if I put it out here, it's too far away, and then when it opens, the arm hits the side wall there. So it has to be closer. And then if I have this, if I leave it on the body line how it is, then it's too far away from the door this way. So I have to put the hinge right on this body line, but I gotta move it closer to the door. So these are little brackets that came with it. I gotta make new brackets. So basically what I'm gonna do, if you see the hole there and then the black dot, I gotta re-drill the hole, so that'll move the bracket out and the hinge in. Let's see if that works. All right, it's another night and I'm back out in the Montana garage to work on this inner fuel door a little bit more. I got a piece of sheet metal cut to somewhere as close to the shape I want it. And I got my helper Trey out here. He was doing a little welding, and we're ready to weld our little hinge in. I had to modify the little brackets just a hair, shorten them up, and then grind one down a little bit because it has to sit on this little body line. So I cleaned the junk off of here, sprayed a little weld through primer on there. I got the door kind of where I want it, or I did until I just hooked that on there. There we go. And I'm gonna hold this in place, and Trey's gonna give us some tack welds somewhere in there, and we're gonna see how it works. All right, well, I'm coming back for another little update, and before I did this, I just looked at my GoPro, tried to look at some of the footage that I just got done taking. We welded in the hinge and made the little magnet closure work, and I had some time lapse, and I explained what we were doing with all that, and I just went to look at the clips, and they all say unable to view. So that is awesome. So I'm not sure if I'm going to get those back or not, so I'm going to pretend that I'm not and just explain everything one more time. So we got the inner gas door all in place. Trey helped me weld the hinge on, and then I came back out and we put the little magnet on, or I put the little magnet on. For some reason they only gave me two sets of hardware, so I just threw some self-tappers in the back two screws. Kind of ugly, so I might switch them out, but that's all I could find to work for right now. But we got it all welded in place and all adjusted, about as good as it's going to get for now. I still got a little bit of tweaking to do probably. So there she is in the closed position. It's got a pretty decent gap all the way around. I had it fit and flush almost perfect all the way around, and then I went and threw some more tack welds on there, and it just kind of, that heat, it's amazing how it kind of warps up the little metal just with some little tack welds. It had pulled these corners out, and so I had to sit here and try to bend them back, and I got them pretty good. Still got a little more work to do. That one's a little proud, but for the most part I think it'll kind of disappear once we get her all painted in and stuff. And let's see, we got the magnetic closure, so we push on it and it pops out just enough to get a finger under there. Pull her open, and there's the hole. The hole did get a little smaller now with the hinge and also the magnet in the way. Kind of dark over in there probably now, but I don't know how that's best. But anyways, I can still get my hand in there. I'm probably gonna have to rework the filler neck to lower it and change the angle this way just a hair. And worst comes to worst, I can get one of those fill through caps where it has the sealed hole and just push the gas nozzle through there. I think some of the newer cars have those. I've seen them on a few things. And I saw the kit when I was buying this hinge. So I know I can make it work one way or another. It's gonna be, like I said before, a little more inconvenient to fill up now, but hey, I got rid of that big ugly gas door on the outside of the quarter panel. So to me, it's gonna be worth it. So to close it, I found out it's better just to push the magnet in, slam the door shut, and she goes back in place pretty darn good. So again, with everything, just like everything I'm doing out here, it's not perfect, but I think it turned out pretty good, and I think I'm gonna like it. I know a lot of people have been commenting that it's a bad idea to have this in the trunk, and there's gonna be gas fumes, and people are, I'm gonna blow up my car, and I hope that's all wrong. Maybe it's right and I should be more worried about it. If it seems like gas fumes do become a problem, I'm sure I can close this gap with some sort of weather stripping or something. So anyways, I've seen articles or you know, stuff where other people have done this similar thing, and I didn't hear about their cars blowing up, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, I guess I'm going to take my chances. I'm not that I'm not concerned about the fumes, but I'm not thinking it's going to be a huge deal. Like I said, if it is a huge deal, I'll find a way to seal that. I'll put a vent somewhere else in the tank down below or something and make sure that it's sealed up there and there's no fumes coming in. One way or another, I'll make it work. So that's it for the inner gas door for now. So I'll climb over my jungle gym here. We'll get back to fixing or putting the patch on the outer quarter panel now. No, not now. It's like 11 o'clock at night, so I'm going to call it a night for tonight. We'll probably end this video here, and the next video we'll come back with part 3 of this little Operation Gas Door Delete or whatever I'm calling it, and we'll get to work on the patch on the outside here. So once again, I appreciate everybody watching. Please like, share, subscribe. 5,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm slowly ticking up there. We got 3,600 or something now, so it's still a ways to go. But I appreciate everybody that does watch and subscribe. If you enjoy it, please tell a friend, and we can try to make this grow a little bit, and I'll try to keep going and coming out and giving you some cool Try 5 content. Appreciate everybody watching. See you next time.